What is up, UDK Sports Talk family? I wanted to come on here and talk about the New York Mets game that happened last night, in which our New York Mets were beat down by the San Francisco Giants by a score of 7-2. Now, as all of you know, if you follow me in my previous video, I spoke about this. If I have the opportunity to watch the games, I'm going to 100% react to them because I want to be fair and impartial to these players. I want to give the fair critiques that they deserve, and I don't make half-ass takes based off the stats. What I like to do is I like to watch the game and then interpret the stats because I said this before, there is a story within every game. And there are some takeaways following this game, and I would love to give my take on them. So, number one, we are struggling offensively. We are now batting with runners in scoring position. I want to say in the 100s. We are absolutely horrific in that area. Now, with that being said, when you look at the lineup, and I have the stats pulled up for me on my iPad right now, I'm just going to go down the totality of the lineup. Francisco Lindor went 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Now, I will say this, going up against Robbie Ray, you knew what time it was. Robbie Ray is a heck of a pitcher, and if you jump on him early, that is your best chance, because once he gets into the flow of the game and he starts spotting out with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, given the fact that he's a lefty, they have natural run on their pitches, and his off-speed is filthy. So once he gets into the flow of it, you already know what time it is. I thought, in my opinion, that Francisco Lindor looked really comfortable at the dish yesterday. So going 0 for 2 with 2 walks, he did get on base. I'm okay with that. Juan Soto ended up going 1 for 4. He continues his hot start to the season. I thought at times he did not look good against Robbie Ray. He had one at-bat in which I didn't even believe he saw the slider well at all. That was the first at-bat I've seen from Juan Soto this year where he looked completely overmatched. And like I said, man, Robbie Ray is a heck of a pitcher, so you got to give the credit where it's due, man. He's a stud. So him having an at-bat like that against Robbie Ray doesn't surprise me, but the totality of the day, I just felt like he was a little bit off balance, more so than what we're all accustomed to. Bo Bichette ended up going 1 for 4. He hit a seed down the line and almost put one out to center field. I know this stat line of going 1 for 4 is going to be like, well, he only got 1 hit and 4 at-bats, but I thought his bat is starting to come around. He almost put one out to dead center field in San Francisco. Y'all all know that is a monstrosity of a shot to hit, and he almost put it out with a runner in scoring position. So again, I guess these stats could be misconstrued, right? Because I thought Bo Bichette is starting to turn that corner. Remember, I spoke about this in my previous videos, and I sound like a broken record, but there's an approach he has. You let the ball get into the zone a little bit deeper. What happens is you're trying to go to the opposite field, but what you're ultimately trying to do is you're trying to stay on the ball to hit it right up the middle so you don't pull off and hit balls down the line, and you're consistently pulling off the ball, hitting ground balls to the third baseman. What you're trying to do is you're trying to hit line drives. That is the basis of a contact hitter. And as all of you know, Bo Bichette is a contact hitter. He's been like that his whole career, but he also hits home runs. So again, the stat line is misconstrued with that. I did believe that Bo Bichette swung the bat really well yesterday. Jorge Polanco ended up going 0 for 4. I did not like the way he looked at the dish yesterday at all. He looked uncomfortable. He was chasing outside of the zone. There was a lot of pitches he chased against Robbie Ray. I just got to chalk it up to maybe these hitters were not seeing the ball well coming off that release point yesterday because they looked fooled on a lot of their swings. Now, Luis Roberts Jr. ended up going 0 for 3 with 1 walk. Luis Roberts Jr. has been swinging the bat really well for us, but I did mention this in my previous video. I get that they're trying to hold him, right? And they're trying to make sure that he stays healthy because he has dealt with injuries before. But there is something that goes into when you're swinging the bat well, you want to continuously play. I feel like that day off really messes up with the momentum, and that one day off has now resulted in back-to-back offers. But listen, at the end of the day, Luis Roberts Jr., I thought had good at-bats at the plate. He did miss a couple pitches, but you know, it is what it is. Mark Vientos, Swaggy V, ended up going 1 for 4 with a home run. He had an absolute moonshot against Robbie Ray, and that's your best chance to get him is early, and Mark Vientos did. And I did think that Mark Vientos is an extreme positive following this game, specifically because Mark Vientos not only played great defensively at first base, he made 2 diving catches yesterday. I thought overall he looked really well at first base and trending in the right direction, man. As all of you know, Swaggy V had a big postseason for us a couple years ago, and he had a great season in which he put up 20+ home runs. He is that type of player that can easily be a 30+ home run hitter. It's just a matter of can he play consistently and hit consistently. You get what I'm saying? And yesterday he got his opportunity to show what he could do against a lefty. And to be honest with you, after how he looked yesterday defensively, we saw how Jorge Polanco looks defensively, and we understand he has an Achilles issue. I would prefer Mark Vientos playing over Jarrett Young. And if it's up to me, man, I want to see Mark Vientos get more at-bats, man. I want to see him play more because if he's going to look defensively like that, that's going to solve a lot of our issues at first base because so far he looked very comfortable playing first base. And to be honest with you, I felt like he played way better than Jorge Polanco defensively. He looks way more comfortable playing first base. And he is 6'5". He is a big target. So it's just a matter of can he scoop the ball at first base. But I thought Mark Vientos was a very positive light coming out of the game yesterday. Marcus Semien ended up going 1 for 3. On the season, he's batting 130 so far. We all know the type of game that Marcus Semien had, but we'll get into that following the stats from yesterday's game. Francisco Alvarez ended up going 1 for 3. He had a swinging bunt, ended up beating it out. And Tyrone Taylor ended up going 0 for 3. Now, overall, the New York Mets ended up scoring 2 runs and only had 5 hits, and they had 1 error on the field, right? You're not going to win with that type of stat line. Now, I know we're 3 and 4. We're at the bottom of the division right now, and obviously it's still very early in the season, so you don't want to overreact to it. When I read off the players that are in this lineup, this team just has a bunch of, to me, complete players. So eventually, they're going to get it together, in my opinion. You're just starting off slow. It is what it is. That's baseball. Sometimes people don't get off to great starts, and you also got to remember this. Francisco Lindor, because I know a lot of people have been hard on him. Dog, he didn't have no spring training. He's getting ramped up. He's getting spring training reps now. So, again, I thought he looked very comfortable at the dish yesterday. For me personally, I felt like he had comfortable at-bats. And that's what you want to see. He didn't look overmatched compared to how Jorge Polanco looked, compared to how Tyrone Taylor looked, compared to how Marcus Semien looked at times. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's certain at-bats. Like, even that bat that Juan Soto had against Robbie Ray, where he looked completely off-match. Got to understand, man, the opposition has a say in how the results go sometimes, too. And Robbie Ray's a heck of a pitcher, so he's going to do that to some of these players. But I need you to understand this, man. The approach needs to stay consistent and needs to remain the same. You have to make the pitchers work, force them to hit their spots, right? Force them to throw strikes. If they don't hit their spots, don't help them by chasing. You chase, you get into trouble. And yesterday, that's what happened, man. They chased, they helped out Robbie Ray. He got into the flow of it following the beginning of the game where they could have pounced on him. And it is what it is, man. But overall, I will say this, man. That was an absolute monstrosity of a game. I thought defensively, we looked crappy yesterday. The lack of communication in the first inning in which Marcus Semien waves off Luis Roberts Jr., that's on Marcus Semien. That has to be Luis Roberts Jr. ball, 100%. He was in position. The only reason why Luis Roberts Jr. stopped was because Marcus Semien had waved him off, and I felt like it was premature of how he waved him off. And you got to chalk that up to Marcus Semien. He is a Gold Glove second baseman, so you don't want to take it with too much context. He's just being aggressive. It is what it is, but we can't have those type of mistakes. Mark Vientos makes a heck of a play diving, and he flips the ball to David Peterson. It wasn't a bad toss. I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's a little bit behind him, but man, you got to catch that. And I felt like David Peterson, he was sped up yesterday. David Peterson, I'm not going to get into how he looked pitching-wise just yet, but I felt like in that first inning, it's what I call quicksand, man. It's like you're trying to speed up, but when you're in quicksand, the faster you move, the faster you sink, right? And you have to be able to calm down, take a deep breath, process what's going on, and move forward. And yesterday with David Peterson, I felt like after that bat with Luis Arraez, when he put a dent off of the wall in right field for absolutely smoking it so hard, that David Peterson was sped up after that. He wasn't hitting his spots. Anytime he was in the zone, they were hitting a frozen rope off of him, which means that the batters were seeing the ball very well off of him. And when you don't hit your spots, David Peterson is not a flamethrower. David Peterson is going to sit in that 91 to 94 range. You want him to sit mid-90s to upper 90s if you're going to miss with your fastball, right? Because that's how you're going to be able to throw it past the hitters. We didn't have that yesterday. After that at bat, I felt like that's when the wheels started falling off. He then has to play to Mark Vientos, in which he drops it, and I felt like that was because he was sped up. He was flustered. That happens in real time. Again, I spoke about this, the mental aspect to the game, something that people don't really pay attention to. When you're sped up, the anxiety kicks, your heart rate starts speeding up, and that's when mistakes come. And yesterday, they hit the shit out the ball going up against David Peterson. And that first inning in its totality was an absolute crap show. They ended up putting 3 on the board in the first inning, right? And then in the third inning, they ended up putting up 2 more. Okay? And I did feel like at times, the San Francisco Giants, man, listen, ultimately, when your 8th and 9th hitters go 6 for 6, that tells you everything that you need to know following that game. Rafael Devers absolutely destroys David Peterson in his career. He looked extremely comfortable again yesterday. Rafael Devers had a good game. It is what it is, right? But I thought overall, man, the pitching yesterday did not look good. Let's look at the stat line for David Peterson. He ended up going 4 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits, gave up 5 runs, and struck out 5. His pitch count was only 68, man. They were seeing the ball so well coming off of his release point yesterday, 100%. Sean Manaea ended up going 3 2/3, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 2, ended up throwing 74 pitches. Listen, I thought with Sean Manaea, it was a mixed bag, and I spoke about this before. Sean Manaea is getting paid $25 million a year. All right, so we have 2 years left on Sean Manaea's deal. Now, at the time of them giving him the contract, it was not a bad contract, man. Sean Manaea showed his potential. He changed up his delivery, and he was absolutely sensational in the playoffs that year. So you had to give him the deal given how he pitched following it. You couldn't just let him go. But Sean Manaea, I spoke about this, man. When you lose your velocity, people don't truly understand this, man. When you're consistently sitting at 93 to 96, and the San Francisco Giants commentators spoke about this yesterday. They said that, hey, listen, man, they were used to Sean Manaea sitting in that upper 90s, mid 90s. This is a completely different Sean Manaea now. Now, they even said it that they still think that he has the stuff to still be successful at times. But here's the caveat. If you don't spot up and you can't throw strikes, and you throwing 90 miles an hour and you miss, you give up some big hits. He gave up a home run yesterday. He almost gave up another home run to Harrison Bader. And that's what happens when you're not throwing mid to upper 90s. You can't throw it by hitters, which is something that he was able to do coming off that crossbody release that he has. And, listen, I thought overall the stat line is not bad, right? 3 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 Ks. I mean, listen, I didn't think he threw ridiculously bad, but I didn't think he looked sharp either. And when you compare it to how the Giants pitchers looked yesterday, Robbie Ray ended up going 5 1/3 with 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. I thought he looked sensational following the hot start that the Mets had. And if it wasn't for that play in center field, in which Bo Bichette potentially hits a 2-run home run, who knows how this game turns out, right? But in typical Mets fashion, it always turns out like this. Blade Tidwell, 3 innings, 2 hits, 2 Ks, gets his first save of the year against the New York Mets. It's only fitting in typical Mets fashion. The former Met ends up closing the deal on them, throwing absolute gas on him out yesterday. But, overall, that's what it is, man. Susac, the rookie that the Giants debuted yesterday, was absolutely sensational. 3 for 3. He looked great at the plate. And it is what it is, man. When you're 8 for 9 hitters, I said this before, go 6 for 6. There's really not much you could do if you're the New York Mets, man. And to be honest with you, I thought overall, man, this team looked shaky yesterday. Again, it is just one game, and that's the beauty to baseball. You live to play another game. But overall, man, we got to kick it up. Our best hitters need to keep being in the lineup. Carlos Mendoza, I get it, the analytic approach. You're trying to make up for the lack of production at first base that you're not getting with Pete Alonso. So you're trying to combine what you could get out of Jorge Polanco, Jared Young, and Mark Vientos to add up to what you're getting from Pete Alonso. But here's the deal, man. I played baseball. You need consistent at-bats to get hot, to get into the flow of it. Again, analytics does not take that approach when evaluating teams. They just go strictly off of numbers. There's a difference. You have to get comfortable. You have to get into the flow of the game. These are things that the hitters need in order for them to succeed. And if you don't get consistent at-bats day in and day out, guess what ends up happening? You get shaky starts. You get shaky play. You're consistently inconsistent. And I feel like, man, listen, I get what they're trying to go with Jorge Polanco, Luis Roberts Jr. trying to keep them fresh. You got to let them play, man. You have to let them play the way that Lindor, Soto, and Bichette are playing. You have to let them play 100%. And that's when you're going to be able to get the consistency that you're looking for. Let the guys play. Listen, this whole lineup is filled with complete players that are good players. So there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to absolutely get back into the hunt and get it going. Let's go look at the division, all right? So in the NL East right now, we really shouldn't be checking the standings right now. It really doesn't matter because it's still extremely early in the season. Miami's 5-1, Atlanta's 5-2, Washington is 3-3, Philadelphia is 3-3, and the Mets are 3-4. All right, 2.5 back. Doesn't really matter, man. At the end of the day, we can say this collectively. Our main teams that we're going to be competing with are the Philadelphia Phillies and Atlanta Braves. Those are the two teams, right? Eventually, what's going to wind up happening is you'll get what we all believe will happen. New York Mets will get hot, Philadelphia Phillies will get hot, Atlanta Braves will get hot, and it's going to be a 3-team race in the NL East. That's how I always perceive it. That's how I look at it, man. But when you look at the Mets overall, right, the record is 3-4. But the reality is, had they had a couple bounces go their ways, if they cash in on a couple of opportunities, they lost 2 extra inning games. To be honest, they lost 3 extra inning games. The Mets very well could be here sitting at 6-1 right now. So I know a lot of people are overreacting, saying that this team is bad, this team is horrible, yada, yada, yada. It is early in the season. Calm down. We're not getting annihilated. Yesterday we lost bad. When you lose 3, extra inning games. It happens. The Mets easily, if they get a couple of clutch hits or if they get a couple of bounces go their way, the Mets are 6-1. That's the beauty of the baseball. So again, it's not like we're getting completely overmatched. The pitching looks good outside of yesterday. We just need our hitting to catch up. Now, I will say this, right? This is what makes a team great. Your hitting and your pitching need to be in cohesion with one another. You can't have your hitting well, but you can't have your pitching well on opposite times. What makes a great team is that you consistently do it throughout the course of the year. Pitching is going to get cold, hitting's going to get cold, but more times than not, you can string it together and rattle off 3 to 5 to 7 in a row. You lose 2, and then you string it again, 3 to 5 to 7 in a row. That's what makes a team great. It's very early, but relax. The way people are talking about the Mets is like this team is horrible. Now I'm gonna do this in another video following this, but relax. We're gonna be fine, guys. It's early in the season. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.